Good afternoon. As your friend and host, Todd Laborowit, I'm privileged to share every Saturday afternoon at 1 p.m. with you on the Todd Laborowit Show, which is part of the Real Estate Radio Network here on Salem Broadcast, WRC 1260 AM. Well, here with me right now is Jim Fab from Fab Electric, and he's been providing electrical and generator installations for both residential homes and commercial properties in Maryland, Virginia, and Washington, D.C. since 1987. His company is known for the one-stop shop for all your electrical work and is the most trusted resource for quality work shared through Angie's List and Consumer's Checkbook. We're lucky to have him here with us today. Here's Jim Fab of Fab Electric and Generators.
Good afternoon, Todd. Thanks for having me.
Glad to have you here. You're the best in your field that I know.
I may be the only one, you know.
You've been doing this for a long time, 1987.
It's been a long time, but with providing electrical support to the metropolitan area, it's been a privilege. You know, we've grown this business from just me driving a truck to, we've got a staff of 15 in the field and then office support, and it's an honor, and we enjoy working with the community and businesses.
Perfect. Well, Jim, tell me how you got into this. How did you get into the electrical business?
Well, after high school, college isn't for everyone. I decided to go to trade school, and I really enjoyed it. And I thought, I could turn this into a career and a business. And so I served 4-year apprenticeship program, and then I decided to go out on my own. And it's a lot of work. It's very hard. I just started off with a one van. And I've built a nice company, surrounded by people much smarter than I am, but we've got a great commitment, a wonderful team. So I'm fortunate.
And also, tell me a little bit more about your company. And I know you always have your electricians when they go in, they put the things on their feet so there's no dirt. You always go the extra mile, and I see other people talking about that.
Well, I built the business based on what I wanted out of a company and what I would want for someone to do when they came into my home. And, you've got to protect people's property. And they're probably their most, on average, the largest asset that they own is their home. And we treat it and respect it as if it was our own. So our men wear booties to protect the floors, with their shoes so they're not dirty. They wear gloves. All of our ladders have protection on it so that we don't lean it against any walls. We try and make every area cleaner than we found it. But we just try and respect people's property. We go in, we do the job that we were hired to do, and we try and exceed their expectations.
That's great. And one of the things I always hear about is your 24-hour service, because being on Angie's List and the Consumer Checkbook, to be a contractor and to get such raving reviews,
well, I'll tell you.
That's a hard thing to get.
It is. 24-hour, for many companies, that's just a marketing ploy. You call them up and they don't answer, or you get an answering service. At Fab Electric, when I first started advertising the 24-hour service, it was my phone number, so I answered the phone. As I've grown the business, I don't do that, but I'm actually still in the loop for if I was to get a call. So I don't just say it. We practice it, and we encourage people to put us to the test. But we are responding. I have crews that work 7 to 3:30, 3:30 to 11, and 11 to 7, and that's 7 days a week.
Perfect. Well, by the way, if you're just tuning in, I have here with me Jim Fab from Fab Electric and Generators. And I am your host, Todd Laborowit, and you're listening to Salem Broadcast Network, WRC 1260 AM. Now, Jim, we also got into generators. Is that something new?
Yeah, the generator business, because it is electrically related, it was a natural segue for us. But we didn't start off to be a generator company. We're a full-service electrical, residential, and commercial company. But I met some people, this is going back years and years ago, that had medical needs. And when there was a loss of power, these people had motorized beds. Some had equipment that provided oxygen. Others had charging units for wheelchairs. And I met a young man who was about my age. And when the power went off, he could not get out of bed. He couldn't live independently. He couldn't operate. And he needed either a 24-hour assistant or he needed electricity.
Wow.
So that's what our motivation was at the time, was to provide him with a generator. And back then, these generators were very large, very clunky, complicated, and not nearly the fine-tuned piece of equipment that they are today, and much smaller and quieter. But we were really motivated to help people. And once I provided this generator for this young man, he truly lived independently. He still does. He's a client of mine. He's been a client of mine for 15 years. And once I helped him, my name spread throughout the medical community, and I was originally installing generators for people with medical needs. Now I install generators more of a convenience item for homeowners in general that don't want to lose food, don't want to be the chance their pipes freezing in the wintertime when the heat goes
Or they
up.
don't want to be cold.
Right, yeah. And also there is a huge risk when your power goes off in the wintertime, your pipes could freeze. So we can maintain the heat. And if you're out of town for a week, you can come home to broken pipes. You could have a flooded home. So now we're doing it for everyone, but it's more of an inconvenience remedy.
Okay. So to talk about the summer, because in the Washington, D.C. area, we experienced a lot of outage in the summertime. I'm used to it being out in the wintertime, but the summer, with too much heat, I mean, your electronics can go bad, your TV, your computer, your clock radio.
Right. We're so dependent on electricity, and we don't realize it until it goes off. But in the summertime, forgetting just the inconvenience of the air conditioning, the loss of food in the refrigerators, and then not being able to charge your computer or your cell phone, that's when you notice it. So a lot of our clients have been inconvenienced, and they don't want to do that anymore. So a generator is, it's not for everyone, but it is a good fit for the average homeowner, especially with children, that doesn't want to be inconvenienced and have to pack everyone up and go to a hotel for 2 or 3 days or whatever.
Right. And about this area with the outages, because I remember before the show we were discussing about, I showed you some statistics where in Northern Virginia, like 90,000 people went without power. No, actually, it's 1 million people went without power for a while. Montgomery County was 356,000. Prince George's County was 307. The district had 259,000 people out of power. That's a long time to go without power when it's such a strong need. But you were telling me that that's nothing compared to previous years.
Correct. Pepco has done a very good job in the last 18 months. And they've got this proactive approach with tree trimming and things like that. But, they're not in charge of the weather. But we just have not had as harsh a winter. And other than the derecho that we had a few years past in the summer, those were really impacted. I mean, businesses were closed.
We didn't even talk about generators for businesses.
Well, the businesses that, depending on what type of business you have, I'm not talking about just an accounting or a law firm or a dental office where it would be an inconvenience with internet and lighting and servicing your people, but small convenience stores that have refrigeration needs, bars and restaurants. So we do a lot of backup generators for, the restaurant industry, and now we're starting to put them in schools. Due to all sorts of medical needs now, a lot of schools have elevators and everything's ADA compliant. You need electricity.
That's amazing. It's so much amazing to see you start a company. It was just you, one truck, and then you grow it into this big organization.
Well, it's we couldn't do it without the community, and that's why we're as committed as we are to different types of community projects. And
now, community projects. What type of projects are you involved in?
Well, over the years, we are now very involved with the Yellow Ribbon Foundation and Wounded Warriors, and that's just trying to bring people back into the community that have served and have some sort of disability. And that's also the generators. We're providing generators for those people also.
Perfect. Well, I really appreciate you being here.
Sure. Thank you for having me.
I just love talking to you about generators and electricity because there's so much stuff and knowledge that you know that I wanted to share with our listeners.
Well, thank you for having me.
No problem. And is there anything that you can maybe let the listeners know what they're like any offers that we can give our listeners as far as like generators
or with my company in general?
Yeah.
I mean, at Fab Electric, our estimates are free. We can be reached at 301-622-6979. It's 24/7, 365. We're always available. And, we'll come out and give you a free estimate, and hopefully we'll be able to help you.
We got to go to break now. Okay. But when we get back, we're going to be meeting with Jim Musgrave with Research Financial Strategies. And then he's going to give you a word on wealth. And we'll have Julie Statlin with Statlin & Katz. And then Sarah Burnett with Corporate Volunteer Council of Montgomery County. We'll be right back.
You don't go through life with a paralyzing fear every time you have a financial transaction. So why is applying for a mortgage so scary? At Topaz Mortgage with Todd Laborwit, it is about educating and empowering you to get from point A to point B. Todd provides you with his exact closing cost, best interest rate, then invites you to shop around. Plus, if you call with questions, Todd picks up with the answers. Learn more at whytopaz.com. They are industry experts that care. Topaz Mortgage, NMLS 131548, licensed by the Virginia State Corporation Commission, MC 5344, Washington, D.C., MLB 131548, Maryland 18330, Todd Laborwit, NMLS 131497.